First of all, can you tell us a little bit what it's like seeing this very significant time in your life portrayed on the screen in a fiction film?
In dem Leben oder dem Film noch befangen zu sein.
I made two moves still to tell you much more, but the film is so realistic and it represents what I lived through so realistically and so well that I am still moved by the film each time I see it, by the story. And although I am happy that, and also for the Jews in the world, that we've been able to portray this story, which is important, I will always be very sad, because my husband and I did everything to preserve the life of our daughter, and she has left us 5 years ago, and I will always be so sad about that.
I think some people might have this question, so I'm going to ask it. Can you talk a little bit about your decision to remain in Germany after the war?
Yeah, after that. This question is often asked. That's why I'm able to answer in English quite easily, although the answer is long to translate. My husband was born in 1899, at the time when people did not learn English at school. He only spoke German, and he was already third or fourth generation cattle trader, horse trader, virtually a farmer in this Westphalian land. He was very connected to the land, and he felt German. He was first of all German, second he was a Westphalian, and third he was also a Jew. But he was very connected to the land, to the people, to the farmers who saved him also, who were his friends, and he did not see any other way of feeding his family after, so he simply picked up after 12 years where he was forced to stop 12 years earlier, and so he went back to his land and his horses, and that's was his only way of existing and continuing to feed his family.
Lee, I thought you did an incredible job in that role, and I'm wondering if the fact that you are Jewish helped you with the transformation your character has in the film.
Maybe not the transformation, but of course, in general, all of this movie and the project was just a project that, for me, as an actress and also as a Jewish girl and as a human being, was just a project that was connected to the bottom of my heart. Because my grandparents had a very similar story, only in Latvia, and my grandmother was also hidden by farmers, with Latvian farmers. So reading the script and knowing about Marga's story and being able to play this part was, of course, in my way, an opportunity to thank the people that helped my grandparents also, because my grandmother always had a picture of these people on the table next to her bed, telling us kids, look at these people, we always have to thank them. And so I got that opportunity. That was a great chance.
Daniel, can you tell us maybe what was the hardest thing about playing the Hitler Youth for you? Ludi, can you tell us how this project came to you?
Actually, by coincidence, I met the German producer, Joachim von Mengershausen, who had been working with and on this book of Marga's for 8 years, and he didn't know what to do with it, how to do it. He didn't know who was going to be able to direct it and who was going to be able to write it. and even afterwards, how was ever going to get it made. So we spoke, and he gave me the first outline of the book, and I immediately said, I want to do this, I know how to do this, I think, because I know these people. I'm not talking about Marga, I'm talking about the farmers. Because myself, I was brought up in Holland, in what remained of what little remained of the Jewish community there, and all of us were children of not so much survivors, people came back from the camps, but people who had been hidden and saved by mainly farmers and simple workers. So in our families, where we didn't have aunts and uncles and grandfathers and grandmothers, we had the other grandfathers and grandmothers, who we called uncles and aunts, and they were Dutch farmers, they were not Jews, and we, as Leah said, we were brought up with a great respect and love and gratitude to these people. And I had never actually seen a description so accurate, so loving, and so true of these people as the one that Marga gave in her book. And besides that, we know that those who saved, the righteous, were people of incredible courage and rectitude and a moral standing that I think all of us could only hope to attain, and we'll never know whether we can. But these people were Germans on top of it, and they believed in the right, and they were serving their country like loyal countrymen. So the conflict for them was even greater. They were really in a conflict with their own consciences, and still they decided to help and to save. And also the act of actually taking these people in was exceptional, because if you think of it for a moment, Danielle is right, when we made the show together, we tried always, and I always try to impose that almost on my actors and my team also, not to look at things and not to react to things with the perspective of today, but to think of it at the time. One of the main things of the present was that nobody knew when this war was going to be over and how long it was going to take. And people believed that Germany was winning. Now, when Dutch or French or Belgian farmers were taking in a Jewish family, they still did it, but in the back of their minds the idea that the Allies would come and would win and Hitler would be defeated and it would be over soon, or sooner or later. The German farmers, who had their own sons in the Wehrmacht and who believed the propaganda they were winning on all fronts, when they take in these Jews, it's forever. It is absolutely forever. In a Reich that will last forever. So imagine, and I've even, in a few of the screenings in Germany, I told people, think that when your husband or your wife comes home and says, I invited some people for the weekend, you don't know them. And the other one will say, well, okay, and after a week, he says, well, they'll stay for another week, and then you sort of scratching your head and say, well, we only have one toilet, and then it's not for another week, it's not for another month, it is for years, and it's forever, and you're also risking your own life and your kids doing that. So this whole situation of these Germans doing this, to me, made these people into, unbelievable heroes, even though they don't acknowledge it themselves and they don't realize it, and they did not, and I know that because I've met these kinds of people, they did not do it out of ideology or out of, after a long process of thought and convincing each other or themselves to do it. They just did it, and they accepted the consequences of their acts. So that's how it came about. We worked on it very hard. It was not easy to do it. There was a lot of opposition, but basically the reasons to make this film is to what Marga has said in writing her book and in her tireless work for years in Germany, going from school to school and reading. It's the same, to build a monument to these people and to show that even in the worst circumstances and in the darkest hours, human solidarity can exist, should exist, and when it does, it sometimes works also, which is also a wonderful side of this story. It actually works. And what Ashok said to me at one stage, I asked her, remember this dinner we had before we shot with Marga and Annie, you know, and we said, well, what is your sort of conclusion? What do you like about this whole thing? And she said, it's happened, it worked. It just worked. You know, we got away, we did it. And it's sort of a great feeling that sometimes it works. Sometimes you can do it and you don't do it, and hey man, just have to have the balls to do it, that's all.